Shalom, brothers and sisters. Your brother Yezreela for the Northern Kingdom, bringing some edification for you Negro, Latino, and Indigenous who are the biblical Israelites. And before we start, we want to give all praise and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Barakatham, Rakakadash. Let Yahweh be in the name of the Lord, not Jehovah, or God, or Yah, or Ahaya. It's Yahweh, the creator of all, the Ancient of Days. Bahasham is in the name of, and Yahushai is the one you guys call Jesus or the Christ, ignorantly speaking. And we give double honors to our elders in GMS who we learn this truth. Shalom to the apostles, the bishops, and to the men down in the highways and byways giving the 100% truth. Shalom to you. And shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, Labakar in the Hebrew. They're about to be saved. Shalom to you. And shalom to the speckled birds among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations, but return to the house of Israel and are being edified by these videos. Shalom to you. So what are we going to be speaking about? The date today is March 3rd of 2025. And we're going to be speaking about Esau is the end of the world. This is a interview that is more than 15 years old, probably older than that, probably closer to 20 years. The man in the right, his name is called Bill Wood. You can look him up. He's an ex-military guy that had supernatural abilities, and they used him for a lot of projects. Because he had supernatural abilities, basically he could use his mind to go into the future or get it outside of his body, things of that nature. Supernatural things. And he was used a lot. And he's going to talk about a little bit about Project Looking Glass. Project Looking Glass has to do about looking into the future. And how he was part of it. And how at the end, no matter what they did, the outcome was the same. So we're going to go into that. And of course, to the left, you see the interviewer. This woman interviewed that old NASA guy that he said that he saw the aliens. That he said, are they dark skinned? No, they were black. This guy was an older guy, maybe in his 80s. He saw the angels of the Most High, and it gave him nightmares. Okay, and he saw them. They were, he said, between 8 and 11 feet tall. So, again, they know. So, with further ado,
reaction is going to have an opposite effect.
Interesting.
Now, it's much easier for me to explain today what that process is as opposed to back then. But if I had to give it a name, I would say it's the awakening process. It's an evolution of consciousness that cannot, will not.
And that awakening is the awakening of the Israelites. All right, as it said in Ezekiel 37, that dry valley of dry bones. Right, that's what he's talking about. Even though he doesn't know what he's talking about, we could catch up what he's dropping, and we could wash it with the scriptures. So that's what he's talking about. The great awakening of the Israelites. That's what he's talking about. Of consciousness. Of activating 144,000.
And no matter what decisions or possibilities are injected into the equation, eventually it all resolves down to us all learning the truth and becoming aware of this massive dam of life.
So he said, very importantly, that eventually everything that they do is going to come out and the truth is going to come out. This is John 8 and 32. And he shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Right? Because knowing that we're Israelites, that we're God's chosen people, is going to change everything. And the Lord said, if you only had faith as a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And there's brothers of ours in this truth, elders of ours that have that truth, that have that, and we're believing in that. We're calling upon the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, repenting, right? Praying to the east and believing in this truth. Okay? So let us continue.
Lies that has been built that keep us from knowing massive volume of information that we should otherwise possess.
And that's in the scriptures too.
Okay, well that's very, very monumental to be told that from a person in your perspective, who's had your background and your exposure to Looking Glass and possible futures that we do converge. And the notion of, is there anything else that you can tell us, that you would want to tell us about that and the rest of the laundry list of sort of information that you had direct to either for yourself or through someone that you had vetted?
The biggest cherry on top of all this conversation would be a synopsis to say that if I could convince everybody out there that for all intents and purposes, what we believe to be true eventually becomes true. If somebody convinces us that a major disaster is going to happen in the very near future, a major disaster happens in the very near future. If we don't buy into that fear and accept that there's really nothing that we know is going to happen, and accept of whatever happens.
And that's in the scriptures too, because that talks about the prayers of the elect that go up, right? They go up with a incense. He's talking about the prayers of the elect are being heard every day, and more of the elect are being woken up, and more are praying to Yahweh Shemo Shai correctly. So that's what's happening as we speak. That truth is coming out, the grand awakening of the Israelite as well, and that's changing the world. The frequencies being put out there. Remember, the truth is nothing but lies. All the lies have been telling us, right? That truth, that fruit is going to come forth. So again, let's continue. We're getting to the point now.
That makes the convergence of the timelines happen as naturally as possible. Any attempts to try to go away from this one inevitable conclusion, I again see as a new beginning, an end of this reality, the beginning of something that we can't even possibly understand.
He said, the end of this and the beginning of a new reality, right? Let's get that. This is Revelation 21:1. I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Okay, and what John is seeing in verse 2 here, the holy city, is not talking about an actual city. He's talking about the elect coming down from space with their new bodies. The new Jerusalem, right? As in Ezekiel 9. Coming down from God as a heaven prepared as a bride. And who's the bride? A lot of Christians will tell you the bride is the church. But no, it's talking about the Israelites. The congregation of Israelites is the bride. Because what's going to happen? The bride, the nation of Israel, is going to marry once again the groomsman, which is Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Okay? That's in the covenant. All right? If you didn't know, now you know. So that's what he's saying. And obviously he's not a spiritual man or he doesn't know the scriptures, but he's saying these things. And of course, if we read the scriptures, that is saying exactly what he's saying.
Based on the level of our beliefs currently. But when all that information comes flooding out, there's going to be no denying what's true and what's a lie or what's illusion.
Right, because what do they give us? fake Jesus, right? And the Messiah warned us about following a fake Jesus, that he will come here, he come over there. And when in 1492, right, Christopher Columbus came with that image of Caesar Borgia, which is a bold-faced lie. And of course, he came with Catholicism, which gave birth to Christianity, which is a bold-faced lie as well, which is an abomination, all right, is that of Satan. And the truth is coming out, that we're the Israelites, that we're the only ones going to get saved, and these people are going to get their judgment. And it's been becoming very clear.
We won't have the choice to believe that 9/11 happened because of a bunch of terrorists, because we'll know exactly what's happened.
So why did he bring that up? If terrorists didn't do it, who did? Why did he bring it up that way? See, everybody's going to find out the truth eventually, and it's all coming out.
Basically what we're...
and you know what? Let me get that. Because the truth is coming out, so that means that something else is going to happen. Let's see. Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit in the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt now more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind. Uncover the locks. Make bare the leg. What did he just say? That everything's going to be clear. All the lies are going to be exposed. Bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Right? Because a woman in the ancient times, she would have a dress. So she's picking up her dress, but she's exposing herself. This is what he's saying here. That everybody's going to see the truth. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yeah, thy shame shall be seen. And I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So that's what's happening as we speak. What's coming out right now? The list of the Epstein list. It's credible. Who's on that list? Everybody who's everybody on it, all right?
We're experiencing right now is two master chess players sitting at the board. And one of them...
And I love this analogy because I've done a lesson on it. Two master chess players, and they're playing this game. Okay, that's what he's explaining. All right, so put this in your mind. This is what's happening as we speak.
Looks down at the board and sees that he's in checkmate in 7 moves, and he looks across at his opponent, and he knows that his opponent sees it too. So there's no getting out of it.
So for those that don't play chess and play checkers, checkmate means end of game. So these two players are seeing that in 7 moves, the bad guys, the Edomites, right? What the scripture calls, right? They're done. Game over for them, which is the 4th beast in the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 7, right? They're the 4th beast. They're the 3rd and the 4th beast. And their time is up.
So at this point, the loser can only prolong the game.
Which are the Edomites, which are you Caucasian people.
Both players know the game is over. It's only a matter of time before he does this, and then you're forced to do this, and then he's forced to do this, and eventually checkmate.
Checkmate is when the Lord comes back and gets vengeance for his people. We're in that time.
As a race, if we could understand that the game is over, that based on the rules of the game, the bad guys have already lost, the good guys have already won. Yes,
and whoever has read the Bible knows that already. That the Israelites are going to win in the end. That the saints shall take the kingdom. Right? We know this because this is already proclaimed in the Bible. And we believe that wholeheartedly. And that's what he's trying to tell you, that this reality, this is gone. This is done. You know, what does that verse say? The things that you see are momentarily, but the things that are unseen are everlasting. The spiritual things, right?
There's moves left on the table, but those moves are being forced by the player that is going to win. The only way that checkmate can't happen is if the player that's winning makes a mistake. But from all of the information that I've gathered, all of the information that's been given, all of the information that's been vetted to me, it seems pretty obvious that the good guy player on the side of the chessboard knows exactly what has to be done to win the game.
And that's why it's important for the men of the Lord to go out on the highways and byways and prophesy to the wind, because that is what we have to do. That's the time we're in, and that is your office, brothers and sisters, all right? Do the work, do the labor. This is what's bringing the end of this world. And then look at his face. He doesn't know exactly what's happening, but he knows that his time is up. Esau is the end of the world, okay? That time is up. Their time to reign is coming to an end, and they all know it, okay? They see the checkerboard. Everybody sees what you call the elephant in the room, but nobody wants to say anything. But this is what this man is saying, that everything, they looked into the future, and all the probabilities all came to the same. There's no more moves to make. It's all going to come to the end. Okay, and he's going to explain that shortly here.
So, at this point, any mistake would be all but impossible. But again, you really have to understand the game to know that the guy that's losing is lost. And I'm sure most people sitting watching the chess match between two advanced chess players know the game's over long after the two players know it's over. Because they can't see the board and see that there's only 7 moves left.
Okay, but when we come to this convergence, and again, you've seen, or the looking glass has seen, up to that point.
Now, let me say why I believe that it comes down to one inevitability, is because I was entrusted in getting it down to 2 possibilities. And I've heard both of those possibilities talked about in massive proportions, the good and the bad.
Okay, do you want to so can you, in one sentence, say what the good was and the bad was, or are you able to do that?
To most easily put it to people,
I suppose.
One scenario is what most people would understand to be ascension, or an evolution of consciousness that brings.
And that's what's talking about when the Lord is going to come with those spiritual bodies for the elect. The elect are going to ascend with those new bodies. Okay, let me get that. I didn't know he was going to say that, but this is 1 Corinthians 15 and 51. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. Is that Donald Trump, or is it an actual trumpet? It doesn't say trump, it says trump. But for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incurable, and we shall be changed. Remember, ascension, we shall be changed. For this corruptible must be put on incorruption, and this mortal must be put into immortality. Those new bodies that Yahushua Mashiach is bringing us. So when this corruptible shall be put on the incorruptible, put it on those new bodies ascending, and the mortal shall have put on the immortal. Why? Because, what does it say? Ye are gods. The Israelites are gods. That's what the Messiah said in the book of John. Then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. But thanks be to God, which gave us the victory through our Lord Yahushua Mashiach. So that's what he's talking about. The Israelites ascending, the elect of the nation of Israel, to be correct.
Us out of the cocoon and turns us into a butterfly. Timeline 2 is some kind of major global catastrophe that drives most of us underground and leaves a few of us.
That's talking about the intercontinental ballistic missiles. All right, they're all going to go into their shelters. So yes, that's coming too. The fiery arrows. Okay, you can read that in the book of Jeremiah 14. You can read in Revelation, I believe it's 18. Let me see if I can find one. And I'm just doing this by the Spirit, Akim. I wouldn't have this one planned. The same shall drink, this is Revelation 14 and 10. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels. This is Revelation 18 and 6. Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works in the cup which she has filled with her double. How much she has glorified herself and tormented the sorrow. Give her, for she said in her heart, I will sit a queen, and I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore her plague shall come in one day, death, mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judges her. Okay, so that's talking about the destruction of what you call America. Okay, Mystery Babylon. That's, here we go. See, he's getting to a point here, though.
On top to fend for ourselves.
Very well put. Okay, so I would imagine, and you can...
But I would also like to point it out that they call Timeline 2, Timeline 2. It seemed very odd to me that even back then it was identified as not one. And that
One is the...
One didn't get talked about.
Okay, but one is the one that involves what in essence would be ascension, or moving into, from the cocoon to the butterfly.
The ascension of the elect.
But I believe, based on what you're telling me, that they would have used a lot of people like you that had a proclivity for being able to see the future, to be what is sort of an advanced psychic remote viewer, or whatever you want to call that, and looking glass, to posit these potential futures, to go up to that point and to view it. And that you're just one of many.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. And back in 1991, when I began my little adventure in the military, I would say that it was pretty obvious that there wasn't very many of us. However, you go 20 years into the future, and you find out that it's coming to the point where there's a lot of people that have that ability, that are inherently realizing that ability, and are able, through some unknown extraordinary means, to develop that ability inside themselves without any outside help or assistance. And it's quite obvious that as far as advanced intellectual abilities, as far as simple intelligence levels, and cognitive skills of the human race has increased exponentially in the past 20 years. And people that were 10 years old in 1991 are now 30 years old and fully awake and conscious of this burning inside that says, I am a lot more than what I see in the mirror.
Absolutely. Okay. I do have a question in regard to what the military-industrial complex has been working on. Because with the knowledge that you say they have, assuming that they have this level of knowledge that you're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. In other words, of the timelines converging and the fact that there was going to be something. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you saw the movie or the TV show Fast Forward. I mean, but there's been so many possible, scenarios in that regard. But one of the things that goes on is they are very busy building underground bases, supposedly underground cities. And so they seem to be hedging their bets for the negative timeline. Mm-hmm. And putting their emphasis there. Mm-hmm. And would you say that is because
because they know the scriptures. It's in the scriptures that they're going to go down in the mountains, go under the sea, go into space, right? And they're going to be hoping that the rocks cover them, right? So again, they're saying something, but they're spending all their money and the protection when the Messiah comes to destroy them.
Why would somebody want something negative to come true? Well, of course, the Illuminati have a program that they're working on in that regard. But basically, the sort of well-meaning military that just goes after contingencies, and is just working towards a future that they want to prevent or deal with when it comes. Can you explain why they have been hedging their bets to such a degree on the negative?
It's very simple. They're insane. And beyond insane, they have literally...
Did you hear that? They're insane. Because remember, Esau is evil. Esau has no purity. Esau is a crooked spirit. Who can straighten that which the Lord made crooked? No one. So yes, they're insane. Okay? The devil
deluded themselves into believing that they can somehow manage to get away with what they're trying to get away with. There is a distinct lack of reality in that thinking.
Okay, what about the notion that CERN, for example, is engaged in trying to beat that game, as you call it?
I would say, look at the problems CERN has had. The crazy little things that have kept that project from moving forward. Certainly.
And at that time, they only had one CERN. Now, they have two, a bigger one. So they were trying to invest their money and to get this done. but there's nothing they could do.
They have never even come close to getting that project to the level that they want it to be to do what they really want to do with it.
Okay, well, what about the notion that that's the party line, that they haven't been able to do so? But if you really think about it, that's what they would prefer people believe, so that they don't think that there's a threat.
But when you listen to the interviews of the scientists that are working on the project, even they say that it seems like somebody or something from the future won't let them get that project done.
Did you hear that? Someone or something will not allow them to continue in that. Because remember, they already had said that these lines of the future are converging, and it's the Most High that's interrupting their enterprise, as is said in Job 20. Ooh. Oh, did we get that? Let me see if I get that. Salakia. Like I said, this is just coming by the Spirit, Akim. Salakia, if I don't get all the verses, but this is Psalm 17 and 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Right? Because Esau is known as a sword, according to Revelation, Genesis 37. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Salakia, brothers. Sorry, I got it here. I was in the wrong book. Salak, it was in Psalms. Job 20 and 23. When it is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and he shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapons, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terror is upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him, which is talking about ICBMs. It shall go ill with him, and it is left in the tabernacle, right? Well, that's when those missiles are leaving the silos.
And the craziest little things have caused massive damage to that project.
You hear that, brothers and sisters?
And when
the Lord is on our side.
The foremost thinker in string theory saying, yeah, I don't think we're going to do it because I don't think fate wants us.
If he's for us, who can it be against us?
To do it? That says something about a scientist.
Okay, so, well, thank you very much. I think that at this point we're going to have to close this down unless there's any other things that you think that we haven't covered or that we could possibly touch on that you want out there.
No, I don't think we'd get any further tonight. Certainly, from what I know, the questions will come out, and be more than happy to do a live feed after that and then answer any questions that anybody comes up with from this interview.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you very much, Bill Wood, for your service to humanity.
Well, hopefully I can get everybody else working towards that goal as well.
Absolutely. Well, apparently, regardless of which way they work, the convergence will happen.
Yeah, there's a certain element of pain that we can reduce by just not accepting that we don't have choices in the matter.
That's it, brothers and sisters. And I'm gonna read this because everything, remember, it's gonna be checkmate. So there's only so many moves they can make. This is 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born, of him Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Barakatham, Rakakadash, and double honors to our elders in GMS. We learned this truth. Shalom to the apostles, the bishops, and to the men down the highways and byways. And he that have ears, let him hear. Shalom.